Mr. Chris White, we've both been playing loads of WWE 2K17 over this here weekend. How have you found it?
It's a weird one. I'm enjoying some of it. There's a few issues I've got with it as well, but on the whole, it's not too bad. I mean, I've played a lot of kind of the exhibition modes in the WWE universe and just kind of mucking about with it, seeing the different combinations of matches, also like how it looks and stuff. So yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it, but I feel it's not entirely different from last year in terms of how it plays. But I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, interesting, because this is the first WWE game I've played in years. So I'm coming into this, first game I've played a lot of in years. I played bits of the previous one, so I knew how they play. And I think in comparison, this one plays miles better. The wrestling specifically, it feels a lot better. There's a lot more impact to it. The moves are really well animated. And there's a lot of it I do like. Yeah. There's a lot of WWE 2K17 that I really like. The roster is humongous. Like I said, all the options of matches, the different things you can do, the entrances are really, really well done. A lot of it is very good. But, and there's always a but, a lot of it is very poor for me. A lot of it feels dated, not only in terms of the WWE's universe at the minute, how their cut-off point in the development is WrestleMania, so nothing gets updated past then, which is quite a bad cut-off point considering everything gets cut off at WrestleMania and everything starts again. So you've got the likes of Rhino and who else? Jinder Mahal, not like I'm asked about him, but like Luke Gallows and Kyle Anderson, they're not in the game yet, they're coming in DLC. So while you can add everything in, you can add wrestlers and the belts and all the draft and everything, you can add in through creations, and the belts and that will do work. But unfortunately, adding the wrestlers, whilst it's funny, like I had a match that contained Harambe, Donald Trump, and Broken Matt Hardy, so very fun. But the only problem is when the very talented people on the creation tools are creating very good representations of these wrestlers, you haven't got the music, and they haven't really got the move sets either. So while it is the wrestlers, whilst it is TJ Perkins in shape and face, it isn't in music, entrance, or his actual move set, which kind of makes it redundant in my opinion. But elsewhere, I think, whilst I do think a lot of the moves are well animated, and they really are, some of them really do. And when you see some of the moves done, especially like the the spine breakers and stuff that lands on your head and people breaking backs over knees and the like, I've been playing it with my mates at uni, and a lot of them are going eek and every time one of those moves comes off, and it does have a real impact to it. If you play as Brock Lesnar and beat up a mini person, you feel like you're absolutely ripping him to part, and it is in that regard it is cool. But I feel like for a start, the game does not explain itself very well at all. I only recently, after talking to someone else who played it, found out how to drag people while standing up, how to pick people up, chain wrestling, all these type of stuff that really isn't explained well, not even in the in-game manuals. And then I don't think it's so strange because at points it only seems to flow well if you get a lot of counters in one go. If that happens, then there is that's a good way to link moves together. But otherwise, it just feels very jagged. Moves don't flow. You can't get good spots and good sequences, and then as a consequence, you don't really get the drama of wrestling. I don't find it's hard to build up tension in matches, I think, sometimes, especially when it's built as a fighting game. And I feel like they're kind of caught in the crossroads between wanting to go to an actual wrestling game where you have to work the matches, because I do really like the match rating system in this game where it matches you on is it good news? It's a good addition then, because it rates you on move variety and building drama and that type of stuff, but then it's still just a fighting game, and it needs to not be a fighting game, because it's not wrestling isn't fighting, it's wrestling. And so you can't have things like squash matches and heated tag team matches, when one person gets battered and you make the hot tag and stuff like that.
I think as fans we know that it's not real. We know that there are storylines, but we also know that the wrestling itself isn't fake. So on the whole, they should be making these games now where you do all the wrestling moves and correctly and stuff, but they work a way for the stories to play in a bit more. So like there was a WrestleMania mode a couple of years ago where, in fact, a few of the kind of modes that they used to do where you would have to achieve certain things in a match that replicated what happened when they played out in real life. So at some point in the match, you'd have to go and distract the referee. You'd be the manager, you go and distract the referee, and it'd play out like that. So there was like all like points that, like in a wrestling match, lots of different things happen. There's interruptions. There's just these little kind of points that they do throughout the years, and in real life, they should maybe add the bit more of the drama and the spectacle of the storylines into the actual matches. And I mean, you can have interference, but it's very bog standard. I think they could do if like, I mean, I don't know what career mode, which we'll talk about in a second, but like things like the highlight reel and the asylum, Ambrose Asylum and stuff like that, that they all kind of add to the Raw and stuff. But I think I'm assuming it's similar to last year, where you've got just a load of matches in a row, they play out after one another, nothing really happens in between, and they don't feel like the story of and the kind of the kind of storylines play out very well. And that's what I really want them to do. And I know it's a hard transition for 2K, you know, because they have done well. It is a fun game, but they don't have the spectacle of the real events yet. And I think that's something they need to work on for next year, and not kind of just make tiny little inclusions rather than a rehaul of some of the mechanics in the story mode. Exactly. So kind of leading on to the career mode, how does that feel to play?
I feel like they're going in that direction, but they're just not going strong enough. They're still caught, like I said, they're still caught in these crossroads between being just a mediocre fighting game at best and a wrestling game. As you say, for me, I can happily skip a Chris Jericho match, but there's no fucking way on this goddamn green earth that I'm skipping him talking for one bloody second. You know what I mean? I watch Bray Wyatt speak. I watch, The Rock. I watch Steve Austin. I watch fucking Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. To me, if I had a choice between watching them fight and watching them speak, even though WWE today isn't brimming with amazing speakers and characters, I probably would prefer to watch them speak, because speaking is where the stories come from, and it's where the drama is made most of the time. Now, obviously, WWE at the current moment in time is obviously it's a lot better in the ring than it is on the microphone, but they need to be heading into this direction, as you say. So they have good ideas in the career mode, but their execution is very, very lackluster, very poor. So it's kind of like the journey in FIFA in many ways. So you start off, you make your character, but you don't get any attire at first. You're just in like tap out training gear, and you're training at the performance center. Matt Bloom is like putting you through your paces, and I thought this bit would be more of a tutorial than it was. It was literally just have a match and then that's it. And then it was do promos. Now, the promo system had, when I first saw that was being put into the game and an advert, I was very excited, because promo is half of wrestling. But I wish it hadn't have done, really, because it's just done so poorly that whilst the idea is good, it's just not enough. So for instance, there's no voice acting on the promos whatsoever. They don't even give your wrestler a generic voice for anything. No voice acting. The only, even Enzo. So in the beginning, in the training, you train, do promos with Enzo Amore. No voice acting. The only bits of voice acting in the game that I can spot is Big E and Enzo's entrances, and they are both appalling. Absolutely appalling. That's so obviously done in a recording studio. I don't know why they just didn't pull the sound from an actual fucking wrestling match. And then the odd scream, which is quite good. Like, so Bray Wyatt will sometimes say, as you're wrestling, "I'm the Eater of Worlds," or Rusev will scream, and that is cool, but it adds to the immersion. But mostly voice acting is shite, so there is none of it in the promos. And then when you start off your career on NXT, and every now and then you'll have an interview with Renee Young, no voice acting, and then you pick the line what you want to do, and then it's no voice acting while your character speaks. It comes up with what you're saying written, and he takes so fucking long to say it. It's embarrassing. So you've read it 5 minutes before he's finished talking, and it just makes the whole thing utterly pointless, because I know you've just heard how I've described it. It's stupid. Like, they had such good potential to do the promos and have verbal jousts with stuff, and it just doesn't work, because the animations are terrible. So my character wears a mask, like a doctor's mask, a nurse mask, what you have over your face, and his mouth still opens over the mask. So his mask moves as if it's a mouth, and it's just all white, and it's fucking terrifying. And it's just like little details like that they've just not paid attention to. And then the commentary, briefly, is fucking disgustingly bad. Like most of the time, it's just telling you that you're doing the same move too many times, or you're trying to pin too early. It's bullshit. It's, for a start, Jerry the King Lawyer. Why the fuck he's in this game and his incredibly perversive lines on every women wrestler in the world is still on it. God fucking knows. There's a reason he isn't on the commentary team in real life anymore. It's because the guy's
a shame
a fucking
because
dickhead.
Obviously, well, yeah, it's annoying because I mean the women's championship's massive at the moment, and they dropped
Absolutely.
the Divas Championship. You know, it's not that anymore, and they've come away from that. So why the hell they've included that in the game is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a joke. It really is, and it feels like the lines that Jerry the King Lawyer says is like still from the 2006 game. It's like, oh, there was a horrible line. It was something like, that diva can do that move on me, or something along those lines. Something just really sleazy, really fucking grim and old man pervert type stuff, and it was fucking horrible. And the commentary itself, it just doesn't build the drama at all. It's stagnant. It's not contextual. It's just awful. And then elsewhere in the career mode, I like a lot of it, but it's just so random. So I get told I'm going to NXT as a tag team. My first 3 matches are on my own against Sami Zayn, who's overall 87, I'm overall 67, so I'm just getting twatted all the time. Yeah. But I'm trying to build a feud, so it's okay. Then I got in this tag team with Tyson Brody, or Brody Tyson, who is so shit that I put him in the ring. He never tagged me back in, and then I lost. And he's literally introduced as you walk down into the ring as the player, so he doesn't even have his own fucking announce name. Oh man, I could just go on
wow.
So then I have a match with Zayn. I finally win, and then I remember Zayn's a face, so I'm having an interview, and then Zayn attacks me, which he wouldn't do because I'm the heel. He's the face, whatever, exactly. But and then I can't never fight. But there was another point. He was entering, and then me and my tag team broke in, but then he just twatted me. So it's not like they're not letting me squash him like would happen if this was a reality wrestling. You see what I mean? It's just like they've got a good idea. Like the career mode could go well, but like, I think going up in your performance center, then going into NXT wrestling, going up the rankings till you're up the #1 contender, doing feuds. It's all a really good idea, but the execution is just so poor, and it's so sad because the ideas are there, and it's just not been pulled off great. And I know it doesn't help having a 1-year development cycle and all that type of stuff, but it does break my heart because.
You think they'd try and just because the one you was talking about when they talked to Renee Young, there was issues with that last year where every response, like you're talking about NXT, where you can. Like for me, when I was playing it, it was hard to win because you were like 67 or whatever, and you're fighting all these people higher, and then you go and talk to Renee Young, and she'll ask you a question, and you can retaliate, like and say, "Oh, I'm the best there is, the best there's gonna be." You know, Kevin Owens, you're never gonna beat me, even though he's beaten you like 4 times on the trot. It's just unbalanced.
It's not contextual at all. So on that note, bloody hell, I thought I was gonna say something like. You are right. It's just not contextual. So that's right. I'm a heel. So and every time I go into a match NXT, Michael Cole will say, one of NXT's favourite wrestlers or whatever, one of rising star or whatever, like fan favourite. That's it. He'll call me a fan favourite when I'm a heel, and getting mega boos every time I walk in. It's just it doesn't react well to what you do, and it's nearly there, and I feel. Well, it's not even nearly there. It's fucking miles off, but it's heading in the right direction. I don't know what it is, man. It's hard. I think I'm scared my review of the game when I finally get around to writing it. It's going to be at 3,000 words long because I've got so much to say about this game because it is a lot of it when I genuinely enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy the matches. I purposely try and build tension, so I try never to win without doing a finisher first and stuff like that to try and build the tension. But then the game just it works against me in that regard because. Stuff like that, and then I've remembered what I was going to say now regarding the career. So I lose my first match in NXT. I'm a newcomer. I'm against Sami Zayn, obviously. Then I'm walking backstage, and Triple H comes out at me. You better take this seriously. It's like you've booked me to lose. You know, I feel like if you understand, if you are like if you are a proper wrestling fan who watches it and understands a bit of theory into it, you understand that you've lost because they've booked you to lose. So why are you calling me for losing and not winning? Because you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And there's just like I said, there's no stories really. There's every now and then there's a promo which I just say a thing that makes me get booed more. And I like it how I'm getting really booed because I'm a massive heel, but there's just no stories. I remember the last wrestling game I played, and my favourite one was SmackDown versus Raw versus ECW, and that one had like a general manager mode, and you could pick who was champions, you could book the matches, you could make the stories, do the drafts. That was cool because you were the man booking the shows, you were the manager, you made the stories, and the stories are the most important thing about wrestling. Yeah, the moves are nice, the moves are cool, yeah, the talking's cool, but at the end of the day, it's the stories that make people attached to wrestlers, make people hate wrestlers, and I feels like WWE 2K17 just misses that fucking fundamental aspect of what wrestling is. It just feels like it doesn't have the soul of what wrestling is, and it makes me sad because I did have, probably because I've not played it for a long time, I think I had high hopes, but instead it just feels, to be honest with you, it feels and kind of looks a lot of the time like a PS2 game, to be honest with
you. Yeah, that's a shame.
Any other final thoughts before we wrap this sucker up?
No, I'm a bit disappointed by that because I was going to look into getting into the career.
Give it a go because you might enjoy it for what it is, you know.
Yeah, it's the kind of Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar thing. They've been promoting that quite a bit, so I'll be looking to get into that. I do enjoy the creation mode. There's a lot to create. It does kind of keep you busy.
I've heard that the universal mode, I've not really had time to delve into it myself because I find it confusing, but a mate of mine's been playing it, and apparently that really helps update everything, get the belts and everyone, and have stories,
it's
stuff
good
like that.
That's kind of the GM mode of today's day, but a lot more kind of streamlined, a lot more basic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does take up a lot of hours because you can literally book every match on every show, so it is good, and you can change the rosters and stuff for NXT and Raw and SmackDown. So it's good.
I feel like there's a lot.
I'll definitely give it a crack.
There's potential there. There's a lot going well, but there's just a lot of fat. Like when you're trying to create a wrestler, the movesets are overwhelmingly so much. It's so in depth that. It just gives you a headache even looking at it. It takes so long to create a really good character, and it's just a lot of. They're going in the right direction. I said they're going in the right direction, slowly but surely. But I feel like I think they probably need to take a year or so out and proper dig into it, proper try and make it
I think you're
something
right.
It's not. And it needs to be a wrestling game, and at the minute it's just a mediocre fighting game. But if you want to read my written review on WWE 2K17, you can go over to GodisaGeek.com for all those fucking plentiful words, I imagine, because this shit I've not even mentioned in this review. Honestly, I could go on and on and on, but I won't. You're already here on youtube.com/GodisaGeek, so why not click that subscribe button and go through the fucking wide variety of videos we have on offer just for you. I'm on Twitter at Mabroski. Chris is on Twitter at FirstAvenger83. Get us all on Twitter at GodisaGeek, and thank you for watching.